Joy News Prime.
This is Joy News Prime here on Joy News on Multi TV. My name is Israel Lai, and this bulletin is seen right around the world on the internet at myjoyonline.com, but also across Europe on ABN television. In this edition, government's promise to provide temporary shelter for displaced persons of Old Fadama by Friday runs into difficulty as custodians of proposed sites raise objections. Popular reggae musician and radio presenter Black Rasta apologizes to Parliament over his comment that majority of MPs smoke weed. Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit of Ghana Police Service says Black Stars Captain Asamoah Gyan could face up to 25 years in jail in fresh rape allegations leveled against him. Ghana's preparedness to prevent the spread of epidemics through air travel under assessment by International Civil Aviation Organization. And in business, indigenous firm famous for its cocoa beverage Hordes Limited offered its shares for sale to the public. We have more business, sports and international news all coming up in the next 60 minutes. To stay tuned. Now, police are now talking a jail term of up to 25 years for Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan should he be found guilty in the latest twist to the scandal involving the footballer. Less than 24 hours after the police in Odoko said the case they were handling had been closed, the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit says they are investigating a case of rape and sodomy against the Black Stars captain. National DOPSU Commander ACP Habiba Chumesi Sapon confirmed to Joy News the complaint was lodged by 22-year-old university student Sarah Kwabla.
We have received a report against the captain.
What sort of report is this?
Lady Sarah came to our station on Tuesday and reported that the captain had raped her.
So you're investigating rape?
At the moment, what we are doing is that she has reported rape, and we are investigating. And what I want to confirm is that there is a report about that, and we are investigating.
Is that a case of sodomy?
She reported a case of rape, and we are handling that.
Have you interrogated? Okay.
You said?
I'm asking if you've interrogated the captain, Asamoah Gyan.
We haven't, because the lady came, we gave a medical form, and we are going through that process of medical assistance, and we will invite when we get to that stage, we will do that. But at the moment, what I can confirm to you that we have received a report and we are investigating it.
Okay, what are the likely sanctions if it turns out to be true?
Rape cases, when it's true according to the code, it's a sentence between 5 to 25 years, and that's the prerogative of the judge. But for now, what I would say is that we haven't charged him and we are investigating, because we have just received a case and the case is under investigation.
Elsewhere, the Accra Circuit Court has set July 13 to deliver a ruling on the trial of Takrady-based Dr. Sule Ali Gabaz. Dr. Gabaz is facing charges for allegedly sodomizing a 16-year-old. Kwacha Frenuema was in court and has filed the following report.
At Thursday's proceedings, which lasted less than 5 minutes, presiding judge Rita Ajimambudu announced the set date for the ruling. Since the trial began in November last year, 5 witnesses have testified for the prosecution. They include the 16-year-old alleged victim and Joy News Manasseh Azura-Awene, whose investigation led to the arrest of the Takrady-based doctor. After legal representatives for the defense had cross-examined the 5 witnesses, the state closed its case. Dr. Gabaz was then expected to open his defense, but his lawyers filed an application for a submission of no case, with the court struck out. Counsel for the defense again filed for stay of execution, as he had filed an appeal at the High Court. The application was, however, thrown out. Both parties were then ordered by the judge to file their addresses. A sister of Dr. Ali Gabaz, who identified herself as Hajia, says the family is hopeful the ruling will go in their favor.
Yeah,
We are fasting, we have faith. God will deliver the judgment. If we had our own way, we'll take him home today. Even the judge needs God's wisdom to rule on this matter. We pray that God will let the judgment go in his favor. Wife and children are all doing well. This accusation against him is completely false. That is what I think.
Whichever way the ruling goes, it is sure to generate some level of controversy. Kwache Afreniama for Joy News.
The Integrated Development and Empowerment Centre, IDEC, is advocating for a national eviction plan which will serve as a guideline for all demolition exercises across the country. Executive Director of the Centre, Samuel Agboche, says it is about time the local government ministry and the assemblies come up with a common plan that meets international standards for eviction. IDEC described the demolition exercise at Old Fadama, which rendered over 1,000 homeless, as unprofessional and gross disrespect for human dignity.
The government or the local government ministry should come out with a national eviction policy that meets international standard. If we have one, I'm not sure we would have found ourselves in this mess. Immediately, we should try developing something that meets the international standard, so that either it's AMA or whoever, any other district assembly or municipal assembly that would like to undertake such an exercise will be guided by the policy.
IDEC also blamed the AMA for not consulting other key stakeholders before embarking on the demolition exercise, a situation they describe as exposing how unprepared government is at dealing with the aftermath.
If they were involved, what measures have they put in place? Because the impression is being created that the AMA boss is working in an isolation. Is he working alone? Is he working without consulting anybody? Why wouldn't we have taken our time? If we knew we were going to do all these things, why wouldn't we have taken our time and go through the process? But the question was, when and how are they moving? What preparation have we put in place to ensure that the people move in dignity? That hasn't been done.
Now, the relocation of displaced residents of the Old Fadama slum here in Accra may run into some difficulty as custodians of lands where they are to be settled have raised objections. Deputy Works and Housing Minister Samson and he had told Joy News the hundreds of displaced persons could be resettled as early as Friday, but both the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research and the people of Ajin Kotoku, two of the sites where the displaced are to be relocated, say they cannot allow the use of their sites.
Both of the sites earmarked for the resettlement of the displaced residents of Old Fadama, Ajin Kotoku and Pokuase, are both in the Gao South municipality. The slum dwellers were dislodged from their structures in a demolition exercise the AMA says is necessary to minimize the kind of floods the city experienced on June 3 as the slum had encroached on the main Odo drain. Ajin Kotoku was originally earmarked as the site for relocation of Old Fadama residents and the various markets. I'm currently at Ajin Kotoku, specifically the new market that was constructed back in 2010. Now, as you can see in the background, the market has not been opened for market women to do business right here. Now, this is one of the places that has been earmarked for relocation of residents of Old Fadama, popularly known as Sodom and Gomorrah. But speaking to residents in this community, the sense I get is that they are not ready to accommodate the residents of Sodom and Gomorrah.
The government say the people said this land is the government land. The people acquired this land for the palace, but it's not true. Nobody to agree the Sodom and Gomorrah to this place. Are
you ready to accommodate residents of Old Fadama who are going to be relocated here? Are you ready for them?
No, I'm not ready for them because, as we all know from the scripture, the Sodom and Gomorrah people, because of their lifestyle, their places got burnt during the Bible days. And because of even their name, we will not be ready to accommodate them.
Meanwhile, a court injunction prevents further development of the original site at Ajin Kotoku.
There was a dispute.
Between who?
The assembly and then the elders of the community. And the case is at court. That is what I know.
So it has not been resolved yet as we speak now?
Oh yes, it has not been resolved.
The other site which Joy News has learned government is considering is claimed by the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, which has vowed not to release it. This is the proposed land for the construction of the temporary structures for the displaced residents of Old Fadama, popularly known as Sodom and Gomorrah. But as you can see, there are no foundations, there are no structures on the land. So question is, where are the structures? Meanwhile, residents of Old Fadama who have been rendered homeless continue to sleep in the open, waiting for the temporary structure government promised should be available for occupation on Friday. Latif Idris, Joy News, Ajin Kotoku.
Popular reggae musician and radio presenter Black Rasta today apologized to Parliament over his comment that majority of MPs smoke weed when he appeared before the Privileges Committee. He told the committee the utterances were unfortunate, they came on the spur of the moment, I was on heat. The committee is expected to deliberate over the apology and present its report.
The committee first heard from a representative from the Multimedia Broadcasting Limited, owners of His FM, as well as the program's coordinator for the station where Abubakar Ahmed, popularly known as Black Rasta, works. Programs manager Marco Preku Mante acknowledged that the comments about the MPs were distasteful, stating that he had communicated his reservations to the presenter.
Were you able to caution him that MPs are being subjected to public ridicule?
He would bear with me that I've even gone to Adom FM to make some apologies to the people of Ghana and then MPs of this country, because we cannot take you for granted. We voted you to take up these positions, and so I said that yes, I agree that the message was not tasteful. It wasn't, and I spoke to Black Rasta.
The committee then asked for the exact comments to be played to the hearing of all the members.
We have people in Parliament who smoke marijuana undercover. They do not want their names mentioned because it's an illegal thing, and they are those who are controlling the laws in this country. So you know them. Their names to be mentioned. So you know them. I can tell you, if you are a doctor who would go in there and test the blood of everybody in the Parliament House for marijuana, about 80% of them, you would realize that smoking.
Lawyer for Black Rasta then intervened and expressed remorse on behalf of his client.
It just came on the spur of the moment. It was very unfortunate, it is very sad, and on behalf of my client, unreservedly we want to apologize for it.
Black Rasta was also apologetic when he was offered the opportunity to address members of the committee, blaming his outburst on what he described as being on heat on the day.
Very unfortunate utterances. I mean, I've hosted this program for only God knows how long. It's been a very positive show. It's a Pan-Africanist show. And we look at, very positive things. If you check the interview, like he said, it was on something else. And then this one came in on the spur of the moment. So I would like to apologize, yes, for those unfortunate remarks which sometimes come. I mean, when you are on heat. Yeah, but that's it.
Honorable members, you've heard it all.
Yes. Several committee members were eager to probe the apology, but Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Ebubatu Nodro, urged them to hold their horses, especially because of the remorse shown by Black Rasta.
We will meet, take a decision, prepare our report, and take it to the floor of Parliament. So, left to me alone, I would have said that let's end it here. But it appears as if members are anxious to.
The Speaker gave the committee 2 weeks to submit a report to the House for consideration.
The Privileges Committee of Parliament will present its report to the plenary next week with recommendations for adoption by the House. But ahead of that presentation, some members on the committee tell parliamentary correspondent Elton John Brobe they will be pushing for punishment which could result in prison sentence for Black Rasta.
I think that, first and foremost, his conduct when he appeared before the committee, if you ask me, did not look apologetic. It was only when the tape was played to him that he eventually found out that indeed he couldn't escape from what he himself was supposed to have said. And therefore he belatedly apologized profusely. That does not end the matter in our opinion. We are going to receive the report of the Privileges Committee who are in conclave right now and are meeting. When they come to the plenary, the whole House has a decision to make. And as you would have gleaned already, members are taking this thing much more serious than people think. And ignorance of the law itself, is not an excuse. So if he did not plan, well, that is his problem. You have to be careful in all our dealings. The fact that you have a microphone before you does not enable you to even insult. As far as you heard all the other comments, that is not even afraid of the president, and the president is this and that and that. I mean, we cannot continue to denigrate the offices, high offices of this land like that because somebody has access to a microphone. This should serve as a lesson to all those who, by virtue of finding themselves in some job, think that you can say what you like and go back home to sleep. Radio has landed Rwanda and other places in war, and we will protect the integrity of Parliament and also punish people who, through their act, are likely to be national security threats.
So we need decency and decorum in all spheres of life. That we'll discuss it at the floor of the House, but I would have wished that he really apologized to the whole country through all the media stations. I mean, the whole media, stations, so that at least Parliament will not be taken for a ride. Parliament is an institution, very powerful institution, as the High Court powers, and we have to exhibit these powers for Ghanaians to know that yes, we have the powers as High Court. But then he needs to show some remorse. He has apologized. He need to go to all the media houses to also apologize. They will caution him. And the advice I give right now is that not only Black Rasta alone, even all members of Parliament, including you, the journalist.
We're taking a break. We have more stories coming up thereafter. Don't go away. Ghana's preparedness to contain the transmission of epidemics through air travel is being assessed over the next 2 days by a team from the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. The assessment is crucial, especially considering how risk of transmission during the recent Ebola outbreak caused a disruption to commercial flights from the affected countries. The team will, however, also offer training to personnel of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority and the Ghana Health Service to make them better equipped.
The recent Ebola outbreak caused panic in the aviation industry, especially after it emerged that one of the victims who eventually died had flown to Nigeria from one of the affected countries. Commercial airlines then began to shut down the operations in the affected countries, whilst others stepped up border controls to minimize the risk of infected persons arriving in their countries. The acting Deputy Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority said, despite the sharp decline in the number of cases, Ebola and other such diseases remain a real threat.
Events. We're talking about epidemics like Ebola, and recently we're talking about the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, and in general it's about this epidemic that affect aviation. The cockpit inside the cabin. What happens at the control center, an aircraft reports that we have somebody with certain epidemic or disease on board. What happens? What is the airport operator doing? the immigration officer that receives this person with what is he doing? The customs officer, the health services. So we are involving all stakeholders in aviation.
Participants for the training are drawn from the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority and the Crisis Management Team from Ghana. Head of the International Civil Aviation Team, Michael Vridibe, says they will be looking at the extent to which previous training programs in Ghana has impacted the country's preparedness.
We are here for 2 days. So today we'll have a series of information sessions between the CAPSCA team and the national agencies. And then tomorrow we'll visit the airport, and then we'll be able to see things in practice. And then after the airport visit, we'll be able to have a debriefing session.
The Ghana Health Service is expected to provide the necessary logistics for the training program.
Investigations into recent disturbances at public transporter Metro Mass Transit Limited has revealed lapses in the procurement processes attributable to significant system and control lapses. This was announced by Transport Minister Jifa Tivo when she inaugurated a new board following the dissolution of the previous one at the beginning of the year. Transport Minister Jifa Tivo, who inaugurated the 9-member board, charged the team to stick to the core mandate of providing policy direction and assisting management in its work.
The former board was dissolved in January following weeks of internal wrangling, which threatened industrial peace and disrupted the company's operations. President John Mahama, in the statement dissolving the board, had assured the issues will be investigated. Transport Minister Jifa Tivo acknowledged receipt of the report on the investigation of the issue, compiled by PricewaterhouseCoopers Ghana.
The PricewaterhouseCoopers Ghana Limited, who were tasked to investigate the issues, completed their work and submitted a report. The report, among other things, revealed that there were lapses in the procurement processes, which was attributable to significant systems and control lapses, and therefore recommended, among other things, a restructuring of the company in order to put in place effective systems and control measures to address the fundamental systemic issues confronting the company.
The board, the Transport Minister said, is expected to ensure that MMT remains focused on its principal mandate of providing intra-city services to help reduce congestion on the roads as a result of low-capacity vehicles. The new board has representatives from the Ministry of Transport and the MMT management, as well as the consortium of companies who own the public transporter, the Agric Development Bank, NIB, Prudential Bank, SIC, GOL, and SNIT.
Up next, we bring you business with Abigail Adomakoinchi.
Hello there, time now to get you updated in the world of business. My name is Abigail Adomakoinchi. First off, the public now has an opportunity to become shareholders in HOTS Limited, an indigenous company specialized in the production of food beverages, food supplements and detergents. This follows the launch of its initial public offer, which should pave the way for its listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange. All it takes for one to own shares is 50 Ghana cedis, though each share is 5 pesos.
HOTS Limited is famous for its brown gold cocoa beverage, though it has many other products. It is offering 80 million shares, representing approximately 2/3 of the company at a price of 5 pesos per share. The minimum subscription is 1,000 shares. Chief Executive Harold Otabel tells Joy Business the move to list on the stock exchange will afford investors the opportunity to diversify their portfolios.
In course of doing business in Ghana, Ghana is a very difficult place to do business. Interest rates are high and so many things. So at the end of the day, you just realize that you are saddled with probably debt or bank loan debt. So with the passing of the day, you have addition of interest on it. So if you borrow about maybe 30,000 Ghana cedis, in course of time, maybe about 5 or 10, you just realize you're borrowing about 1 million Ghana cedis, and that is very bad. But with this, we are reaching out to everybody to buy our shares because it looks like we are the, like I said, we are the best bus to prosperity, the last bus.
Head of the listing department of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Joyce Esibuache, called on other growing businesses to take that bold step. The shares go on sale from Thursday, June 25 to July 10, 2015.
Executive Director of the Center for Economic Policy Analysis, CEPA, has bemoaned government's reluctance to provide local think tanks with the economic data they require to do analysis and make projections. Dr. Joe Abe is unhappy Ghanaians do not have as much information as foreigners, citing the IMF team as an example. He has described the situation as unacceptable, adding that it has become difficult for analysts to defend the country as international media continue to publish negative reports on the economy.
Ghanaians don't have as much data as the IMF will have, and yet we are negotiating with them. I think that we must tell our governments that it is good for us to be in support of them. We also need to have the same data that they have. Because if my government has given the IMF data, and they look at it and they say, you have not done well, I don't know what they are saying because I don't have the data. So the culture must change. It's not right to information. The culture must change, that it is not acceptable to some of us, also concerned Ghanaians, that the one we are negotiating with has more knowledge about our economy than we ourselves. We think it should be part of the war cry. There are too many things that are secret to the Ghanaian and known to the foreigner. Some people are telling me that the lake level at Akosombo is so low that we may have to shut off the engines, the turbines. Why is it that we don't make it a point to publish the lake level daily in our newspapers? Why? Somebody tells me that our Eurobonds are not doing well. Why is it that the Ghana government knows what is happening to our Eurobonds, but it's not known to Ghanaians? So there are things that will help us to defend. There's a piece in The Economist, which is not good journalism. But you cannot defend Ghana from what they are saying about us because they may have more data than we have. Why? Why is so much information about the state of our economy? Is it because you're afraid of the blame game? Why is it so we don't know what is happening to us? It is not acceptable.
Let's now do something on petroleum workers and Modec Ghana. The operators of the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah on Jubilee oil field have issued letters to send home 19 local workers who are being compelled to voluntarily exit the company. But this has been met with fierce resistance from the workers who are describing it as unfair. They also accuse the company of breaching an MOU signed between the General Transport Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union on behalf of the workers, the company and the Labour Minister in November. Speaking on today's big story, General Secretary of the Union, Francis Sala, said he highly suspects foul play.
This is a real foul play and unfair to labor and unfair to Ghanaians. Look, these are Ghanaians, when they are well paid, they will pay good taxes for this nation. We are bringing in expatriates who are paying them well. What do they pay their taxes to? And behind the scene, we hear that one expatriate who is an OIM on the Pacific swears by that it will be over his dead body to have these Ghanaians on that Pacific. But he's pleased to have these people who are his colleague experts back on the Pacific. And as a country, we sit down because we have sold our stake in this sector. For people to come and make the thing and go on with it. And then Modec will also hide behind this plea and say, look, let's take the opportunity, let us declare these people redundant, in spite of the fact that the job that they are doing are still there. These guys, when it comes to a matter of qualifications, these guys are highly trained. They have been working on this ever since, and for 4 to 5 years, they lost the opportunity of even negotiating with the employer. So in the countries that they are coming from, they wouldn't do these things that they are doing here. They wouldn't do it.
Meanwhile, ADR Labour Management Practitioner Ben Arthur says even though Modec has a right to hire and fire, the company has in this case faulted some aspects of the labour law.
the basic right to hire and fire and to declare redundancy by an employer. It's with modest.
Okay.
And
so
that is
where does the right of the worker also come in?
The right of the worker comes in here under 64, section 64 and 65 of the Labor Act. Right. Once there is a redundancy, you are entitled to your redundancy pay.
Okay.
The notice for your redundancy ought to have been given in good time, 3 months, and specifically addressed to the chief labor officer.
Right.
And not just addressed, you must give reasons why you are declaring these workers redundant. Okay. And possibly you must try to find them alternative jobs. So if you are unable to do so, you need to justify why you are laying them off. And you must notify the chief labor officer. So far, the letters that I've read have only been copied to the chief labor officer. I'm yet to cite a letter that has specifically been addressed to the chief labor officer. If that has not been done, that is a mistake. It has to be done. The chief labor officer must also satisfy himself or herself of the need for redundancy.
In this instance, where workers are saying that we've not been called in any meeting to negotiate this particular voluntary exit, you feel that the company is wrong on, I mean, to an extent, is wrong in doing so?
To a great extent, yes. It has to consult the workers and probably negotiate.
We'll surely bring you more details of the issue as it unfolds, but that will be all for business. My name is Abigail.
Now, 10 residents of house at Dimor, the suburb of Dansoma in Accra, have been rendered homeless following a fire outbreak in their house. The fire reportedly started in one of the rooms and quickly spread to 4 other rooms in the house. Occupants of the house say they have lost properties running into thousands of cedis. One of them spoke to the news team.
I rent a room here and it's like, I'm not in the house, the thing happened. But I was in workplace and they called me. Like something, my fire is on my room. So I rush to come and see how it is. And the time I reached here, I couldn't enter the house safe. But for now, everything has been in my room. And it's like, I can't even get anything. Like, even like my shirt safe, I haven't found it. A lot of my money too has gone. And it's like, I don't know what to do now.
Up next, we bring you sports with George Addo Jr.
Football top of agenda tonight in sports and Black Stars and New Swansea import. JDIU has expressed shock at the recommendation by the World Cup Commission of Inquiry report that Captain Asamoah Gyan needs special leadership training to effectively dispatch his duties. Asamoah Gyan has had some torrid times in his short span as leader for the national team, with the 2014 World Cup fiasco being the most trying. However, JDIU insists the Commission's recommendation is far-fetched.
Okay, I just heard this. I didn't really know about it. I'm a bit shocked, but I think we are in the football side and the other people are in the other side. They're not in the football side, so I think they have their ways of seeing things. But as for me, from what I've seen in the internal game, I've met different captains in the Black Stars, and now there is Asamoah. I think he's doing well. I think we need to support him. And not that when there is any little debate in the team, we go straight up to him. That's all I can say. He has the support from the players, and we'll do everything to win. Now after that, what they are saying, I don't really know the ins and outs, but that's what I know and what I see. So we are behind him and we will support him.
Let's stay with the subject of Black Stars by talk about ex-Black Stars captain Stephen Appiah, and he's excited about the support he's garnered from Black Stars players so far. Stephen Appiah, who called time on his career this week, has been on a month's campaign to promote his much-anticipated testimonial game at the Accra Stadium. Appiah is confident of a good showing.
Me is happy, the other side of me is sad. Happy because, seeing I call them ex-colleagues, talking, very positive about me. something that I've been doing for years, and one day you woke up and you say that you live in your passion. I think it's very, very sad. But all the same, I mean, let me take this opportunity to thank Lai Asamoah, Augustine Ainfo, Dede Ayu, and others who has been calling me for their support. John Mensah for their support. I mean, they have really shown love, and I remember when I used to play with them. We were always in the camp trying to, have fun together. And our comedian, he's right here. I mean, when things are not going well, he's the one who tried to bring some fun in the camp. And I'm really happy that they are doing very well internationally, and I mean, for the nation. Let me take this opportunity to thank Puma for their support. And on the 26th, that will be on Friday, there will be a dinner at the State Banquet Hall, dinner and fundraising. Then 27 will be the game, Stephen Appiah and Levin against the Blasters. So, I mean, they should prepare and come well, because we are going to show them that we still have the thing in us.
More on the Black Stars. Seems like a Black Star special tonight. And midfielder Bernard Mensah says he would not hesitate to seek a new challenge if his current club, Vitória Guimarães, secures a good deal on his behalf. A 20-year-old who made his debut for Ghana in the AFCON qualifier against Mauritius has been linked to a host of clubs, including English Premier League side Manchester United. Latest reports suggest the former Feyenoord player will join his former coach, Rui Vitória, at Benfica, and Mensah hints he'll move if he secures a good one.
I think to work more hard, work hard more, because everyone needs this opportunity. So if you have this, you have to continue to work hard, And I give thanks to God and for everything. I'm very young, and I hope to continue like the way I did. Yeah.
Are you seeking for a move away from Vitória Guimarães?
I don't know anything about this. I just leave this for the management and my club. For me, everyone wants to move forward. And when it happens for me to move forward, and the club accepts and my agent accepts, I just have to move forward. Because this is what every player wants, to play in the highest level, to play in the Champions League, to play in the UEFA League. So if it's the time for me to move forward, I'll be happy.
Out of Ghana, but we still stay in the continent. The Nigeria football chiefs have said they would look into reports that Super Eagles coach Stephen Keshi could be in the running for vacant Ivory Coast manager's job. Keshi signed a 2-year deal as Nigeria's coach in April, ending months of uncertainty and speculation over his future after the team failed to qualify for this year's Africa Cup of Nations.
The Nigerian Football Federation says it will send a delegation to Ivory Coast in order to get to the bottom of the coach tapping row brewing between the football federations of both countries. Super Eagles coach Stephen Keshi has denied that he applied for the vacant post of Ivory Coast manager. Last Friday, the Ivorian Football Federation announced it had received 59 applications, including Keshi's, in the race to succeed Hervé Renard. Keshi has denied applying for the job, claiming an agent in Europe submitted his name without his knowledge.
All right, so that's Stephen Keshi, and of course Israel joins me.
And that'll be all for sports. But before you go, I just want to raise this issue about the Samoa.
Yeah.
Yesterday we had a conversation here, and I was saying that this story is not going to go away.
That's right.
Today we're having, this case resurface with the complaints or the allegation that there was actually rape and sodomy.
The sodomy now being reported to Dovsu.
Yeah, now being reported to Dovsu. I mean, you are the sports guy. You're the one who interviews Asamoah. What's he been saying?
Well, Asamoah is speaking. He spoke for the first time after all of this on Happy FM. And actually, that's a local Accra-based radio station. And he says that he's hoping to go through this. He didn't really speak on the issue to say if anything was true or not. All he said was these are trying times, and he has seen many, and we know he has seen many in his life, and he's hoping to sail through this one as all those challenges have come. It really doesn't add anything to that. But of course, the lawyer for Kwabla, I mean, the lady, the controversy, at the center of the controversy, Sarah Kwabla, the lawyer also says that some journalists have been paid money to try and put some false stories about the lady. So he's also worried about that. And he went all the way to say that God will punish them, in his words, if they continue to do that. So it's pretty interesting, and I'm sure we'll still have loads coming.
We'll see how it all plays out. Yeah.
That's all for sports, sir. Israel Jonas with some more. Have a good night.
The South African Commission has recommended a criminal investigation into the police force over the deaths of 34 miners during a strike in 2012. President Jacob Zuma said the inquiry concluded the police had a defective plan to end the strike at the Marikana mine and were wrong to proceed with it. The police have always claimed self-defense over the shooting of the workers during a protest over wages. Mr. Zuma called it a horrendous tragedy that has no place in a democracy. The killings were the worst violence in South Africa since the end of apartheid 20 years ago and led to intense scrutiny over the roles of the police, mining companies, unions and the government. Rwanda's intelligence chief, Karenzi Karake, has been granted bail of £1 million by a court in London. Karenzi Karake was detained at London's Heathrow Airport on Saturday in response to a European arrest warrant. Rwanda's President Paul Kagame had earlier launched a scathing verbal attack on the UK government over General Karake's arrest. General Karake is accused by Spain of ordering massacres in the wake of the 1994 Rwanda genocide. He will be freed once the £1 million is paid and other bail conditions are met. General Karake will have to report to police daily and live either at the High Commissioner's home or in a house rented by the Rwandan embassy. And elsewhere, one of Burundi's vice presidents has fled the country, saying he felt threatened after opposing President Pierre Nkurunziza's third-term bid. Burundi has seen months of turmoil since Mr. Nkurunziza announced that he will be running for office again in July's election. Hervé Rufyikiri told France 24 TV that a third term for the president will be unconstitutional. A government spokesman denied that Mr. Rufyikiri had been threatened. There are also reports that Burundi's National Assembly Speaker Pierre Ntaryamira has left to Belgium citing medical reasons. He had also criticized the president's bid for a third term. Both men. Right, and that'll be all for the bulletin. Before we go a quick round through our top stories. Government's promise to provide temporary shelter for displaced residents of Old Fadama by Friday runs into difficulty as custodians of the proposed sites have raised objections. Popular reggae musician and radio presenter Black Rasta has apologized to Parliament for his comments that majority of MPs smoke weed. The Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit of the Ghana Police Service says Black Stars captain Asamoah could face up to 25 years in jail in fresh rape allegations leveled against him. Ghana's preparedness to prevent the spread of epidemics through air travel under assessment by the International Civil Aviation Organization. And in business, indigenous firm famous for its local beverage, Limited offered its shares for sale to the public. That'll be all for the bulletin. My name is Israelite. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good evening.
This is Joy News Prime.